TAGNBRAG Nation and Goose Chasers, welcome back to another episode number 70. 70.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, 70 episodes deep after this week. And, normally we do something special on the days that end in 0 or the episodes that end in 0, but we're not today. So
why are those days special?
why?
It's just a digit.
How come 69 wasn't special?
Right.
It was. And it is.
Right.
So figure it out. Anyway, this episode is brought to you by TAGNBRAG and TAGNBRAG Productions. Also, T&B Apparel. Go to tagnbrag.co. Check out some of our apparel. The Make Hunt Camps Great Again apparel line is on there and flying off the shelves, by the way. Flying off the shelves. So get on with it. Join the movement. I don't know what to tell you. If you see the red hats snooping around Hunt Camp, might not be Make America Great Again. It might be Make Hunt Camps Great Again. And you might be behind the 8 ball. So tagnbrag.co. Check it out.
Check it out.
Anywho, stuff. It is October, baby.
Wow.
It is October.
That's weird to say.
The anticipation of hunting season is over because it's here. And that's it.
It's here.
All states that we're going to hunt are open right now. Open, wide open. Use any of the 7 tags that we got, except we each got 6 of them now because 2 of them are punched. So,
yeah.
North Dakota, check.
Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, it's wild. October, man.
October and the first little cold front comes through tomorrow, at least in Ohio and New York. I don't know what's happening down in your neck of the woods, but tomorrow might be a nice little early season night to hunt.
Well, are you going to be in the bush? Where are you going to be?
I'm definitely going to be in the bush.
Where at? Where do you think?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably in New York because this has got to be the first opening day, and I don't know how long that I'm not hunting there.
Yeah, that is weird.
And,
middle of the week type thing. It's kind of, I don't know.
Well, I thought about shooting up there to get a afternoon hunting, but if I had 2 days to do it, I got a lot of other stuff to do. I'm doing it tomorrow because
it's the day.
It's just like it's warm out today, warm and musty and humid. It just doesn't feel like one of those days. So I might jump in the blind in Ohio for this afternoon, but we'll see. Just for shits and gigs.
You seen a decent one last night?
Last night. I seen two 10-pointers.
2 10-pointers, you didn't shoot either one of them.
I seen 2 10-pointers. No, the one was pretty damn, he was nice.
I seen the footage. He looks nice.
It's so hard because it's always like, the first week of the season, you see some bucks. The full inventory is in the woods, so you're seeing deer, and you're just like, I'll wait. Maybe I'll shoot that one later in the year. But you can't think that way.
Later in the year comes, he ain't
I wasn't thinking that with this deer, but I was just thinking
of that.
Well, we hunt a lot into January. Yeah, I was thinking of that because we hunt a lot into January, and you always look back and you're like, man, I don't want to be hunting. Not that you don't want to be hunting right now, but it's you take for granted those early season, the foliage is everywhere. So the deer are everywhere, honestly, because they are not in December and January. They're in specific areas, which you may or may not have access to. But access to hunting is literally everywhere right now because the crops, not just agricultural crops, the tree crop, everything is plentiful right now. So deer are everywhere. You can hunt literally everywhere.
Well, yeah, and all the deer that are going to be alive for the season are alive right now. In January, how many hunters have shot bucks in your area?
Yeah,
so
it's slim pickings.
It's not like, I feel like, and we've fallen victim to this from time to time, but you can't get in the mindset of I'll just shoot that deer later in the season, because there's a good likely that he's not going to be around. I mean, and I think even more than not, because I do like some late season hunts. I do like late season hunting. I like hunting in the snow, but the more Ohio tags that I haven't punched in the last 10 years, when I am hunting at that time, there's always a buck that I was like borderline with in September, early October, that I'm begging for at that point in the season. I'm just like, send him in the snow my way at this point, and I will smoke his ass. And that's, I don't know, that's hard. It's, I guess, the decision you got to make. But, the bucks that are here right now, if you shoot them in January and you got tags elsewhere and you're not flinging an arrow, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like meat in the freezer. I like tags punched.
Don't pass up a deer in October that you wouldn't pass up in January.
I'm telling you.
Honestly, though, that's only like a thing for that's really more of a land manager's motto.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're not hunting public land going.
No, you can hunt that way. You can hunt that way in small property. Like, we have plenty of properties that we're not managing the deer on, and there's not enough land there. So, like, you might pass up a deer in October that you would shoot in January. But for a land manager or a lot of land, that's a different ballgame.
Yeah, I agree.
Different rules.
I agree.
Not that it's a rule. So it's a mindset, really.
It's a lifestyle.
But yeah, I saw those 2 bucks, and I was hoping to see another one that's been on camera quite a bit in daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And he just didn't show. But the 110 that did is definitely a nicer deer than the trail cameras kind of show.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you watch these deer at this point for so long throughout the summertime. No matter what size they are, you kind of get a little numb to what they look like, and you kind of, like, for me, I see one of the same bucks that we've seen all summer. Like, I'm kind of scrolling past at this point on the Moultrie Mobile app, because I'm like seeing him. Okay, what time is he there? 7:30. Sick. Cool. See you later.
Yeah, that is interesting that we do that. And the other thing is the pictures, like pictures versus video, makes a difference too. Because if you haven't had any video of the deer, like on a trail camera, and you've just been looking at pictures of them, then there's a solid chance that you might underestimate them.
You put that rack in motion.
Or over.
True. Put that rack in motion, baby, and oh, good Lord.
Especially if you only have like nighttime photos of them. They're different. They
definitely different. And the distance that they are away from the camera makes a difference as well.
Huge difference.
Like, and obviously things that are closer to you are going to look bigger, but you just get to understand it a little bit better.
Honey, like, just come a little closer.
Hey, honey, get a little closer to me, baby. I'm telling you, it starts to look bigger. No, but I noticed that in the trail cameras that we left out in North Dakota, because the one is set up and the view is kind of like where they're going to come out, or where the trail kind of is farther away from the camera.
Yeah.
So like bucks that we were looking at in September, I'm like looking at them on trail camera. I'm like, these things look tiny now.
Tiny,
but
they look
but they're just
they're far. Yeah,
they're just far in the back, and is what it is. I mean, beggars can't be choosers is what it is.
Is what it is.
We were talking about shots the other day, yesterday, something like that. I wanted to bring this back up on the podcast because it's a very relevant topic, and I feel like it could help a few people. But Grant Woods discussed this a little bit recently talking about shooting a deer with its head down as opposed to with its head up.
Yes.
And the difference in that and the movement that the deer can make after the shot or as the shot is coming to them. And it is a fairly drastic difference. And
it is.
Uncle Jay shot a doe yesterday and kind of had a similar reaction to kind of what
it's a good example.
Good, I guess, yeah, it was a good example. So Uncle Jay shot a doe with its head down, feeding, and if you look like right as the deer was just dead on the ground, if you looked at the shot on the body, it was, I guess, upper half of the deer, but it didn't look like it was too high.
Too high? No.
If anything, it was like front upper half of like a quadrant, of the kill zone, if you will.
Yeah.
Like front upper half.
Top left corner, yeah.
But literally the arrow dropped the deer in her tracks and she didn't go anywhere. But he did have to follow up a shot quickly because essentially she wasn't vitally hit. And maybe it got one lung or whatever and it would have taken time, but we're not gonna.
Yeah, you want to dispatch the animal
as quickly as possible. Yeah. But the point, I guess, is like he didn't make it a bad shot. I've actually done this multiple different times on doe feeding in a food plot, but their ability to drop when they have their head down is so much stronger than their ability to duck or drop a shot with their head up, because essentially they're using their head and neck as a pendulum, and they kind of have they have leverage.
They have pulling power when their neck is down, head is down.
Right.
They don't have pulling power when it's up.
Correct.
It's basically just gravity at that point.
Yeah, it is. No, it is just gravity.
As fast as you could drop your, that's what you're.
Yeah.
It's gravity. I guess we're kind of, I'm pulling myself down a little bit, but it is. It's a very interesting short video that Grant Woods does on that. And most people would not think about that. Well, most people wouldn't think there's a difference, or most people would be like, heads down. This is the time to shoot. This is the time to draw. This is the time to shoot.
Yep.
And it's really, it's not saying you can't shoot them like that. It's just they have there's a different body motion that they make, and it's a quicker, more drastic drop, at least with the shoulder portion of the deer. So they kind of drop down and away, and it's I mean he draws the lines on the back of the deer and shows examples of head down deer, head up deer, and their natural motion. It's very intriguing to see how it can affect your shot, and it does. It does.
And they may not always be hearing your bow go off. A lot of times they're hearing the arrow in flight.
Yeah.
In flight. I mean, if you safely stand to the side and kind of down range of an arrow at flight, even with a field tip, things are traveling 200-300 miles or 200-300 feet per second. It's going to make a little noise. Yep. So that's, I think, a majority of what they're reacting to. And when their head is down, their head essentially acts as a pendulum. And as their head is going up, it is pulling their front shoulders straight down. And that's like the pivot point is the top of the shoulders, because it's their neck and their head is down. Yeah. So they can do that. I mean, it's got to be twice as fast as if they're just dropping with their head up. Maybe more. Yeah. Maybe more. But at for like Uncle Jay's sake, that little movement or that ability to a little bit quicker at 25 yards makes a difference in a literally probably double lung pass through and rolling them.
That's why a lot of shots that happen like that, people are like, man, everyone always says he ducked my arrow. He ducked my arrow. That happens a lot because they can react very, very quickly. And I'm not saying they can't duck your arrow with their head up, but it's just definitely more drastic head down.
Right. It's almost like, and I told myself this, the last couple years I shot 2 doe at 30 yards in a food plot, head down, perfectly broadside. I'm calm, they're calm, and both of them like dropped on the spot. And I had to go put a follow-up shot in them. But that was why. I mean, that was why. Like my shots were where I wanted them to be. It's just their ability to duck down. But it's almost like now in that giving me like if you give me that same scenario, 30 yards, dead broadside in a food plot, I'm probably either waiting for her head to pop up or getting her attention prior to shooting. Because I'd almost rather have the attention on me than their head down and having that ability to drop that fast.
Yeah.
Because you can't, I mean, that's like, it's already unpredictable to predict a deer dropping on your shot regardless. But with the head down, that thing, they could like matrix duck that whole arrow. And you could have like perfect shot, perfect scenario, no variables, nothing moving. You could have pinwheeled that thing and they literally just off the table, see you later. And that thing goes right over their back.
Yep.
So, I mean, I've thought about it since those 2 shots for like in my specific scenario, but I would absolutely either wait for their head to pop up or get their attention somehow so that it does.
Yeah. And I mean, it doesn't mean they won't. It doesn't mean like they're guaranteed to drop if their head's down. I've seen clean shots with the head down, but it just, it's another thing to think about. But most people wouldn't because they're thinking, I don't want the deer alerted or attention on me, because then they're like waiting for something. And then when the bow goes off, you would think they have more time to react, but it tends to not be that way.
No, not at all.
And
not at all.
I think if you're 40 yards and farther, it's a risk you're taking regardless.
Oh, definitely.
Especially if it's like, if there's no like outside noise factors.
Yeah.
You get a dead quiet night and there's nothing going on around you. There's no wind. There's no squirrels. There's no nothing happening. They're definitely on pins and needles.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, something to think about as you embark upon your hunts this year.
Give them the old meh.
That's why the old traditional
meh
has been in the arsenal for generations and generations since the Indians did their thing.
Meh.
Stop him, Matt.
Here he comes. Meh.
I got him. Matt, I got him.
Meh. I smoked him. Meh.
Sometimes if they're already stopped, you just give them a meh.
Sometimes when I'm shooting at the range, right before I shoot, I'm like, meh.
Meh. Stop that target.
Meh.
Look at me.
Because sometimes it'll throw you off just as much as it throws them off.
Yeah, sometimes
you're at full draw and you're like, meh, and you're like, oh.
What'd I do?
Oh, I could talk when I'm doing this.
Sometimes they're already looking at me when I draw, and I'm just like, meh.
Meh. Here he comes.
They hear me drawing, so they stop in the opening and look right at me, and I'm full draw, and I'm like, meh. Yeah, I had to do it. Sorry.
Hey, it's part of my flow. I got to get in my flow, meh.
I can't shoot unless I say meh. So
meh.
Could be loud, meh. Could be quick, meh.
Could be a high pitched. The art of the meh.
Why do we say meh? Is that just because?
I think it's. I mean,
because it sounds like a deer.
A grunt.
That is why. But does it?
I've also found myself doing it while like turkey hunting or something. Like a turkey's in like full strut, like spinning around, and I'm like, meh, 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 meh.
Yeah. See, I've done it to turkey too, but I usually find myself making a different noise. Like I'll do.
You've done the.
I'm just making a noise. I've actually done it to. I'm trying to think. I think I've done it to a few deer too. Like I've gone away from the meh because I'm just like, I mean, if a deer hears a meh, I guess it could sound like a deer. Sound like a fawn, really. Why is that fawn up in that tree?
Meh.
There's a fawn up in that tree.
Meh.
Brat. Brat. Gosh damn it. Because, dude, some of those old monster bucks, didn't mean to interrupt you, but some of those old like monster bucks videos, I remember, like you can hear certain guys' mats, and they're like, some of them I remember like they started with a B, and some of them are M, but some of them are just like,
Mark Drury's starts with a B. It's like brat,
brat, brat. But like if they're in the blind, you don't realize that when you're in a blind, even the windows could be open and you can kind of yell.
Nothing's hearing you outside.
That's why they give them the old 3-P, the brat, 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 brat. And finally the deer's like, holy shit.
What is that friggin' call coming out of that wood hut? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Have it like what's your favorite moment of your hunting career? Filming or not?
My favorite mat. I don't know. If I honestly the most I can remember, it's funny, back in the shotgun driving days, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, anything came out of your mouth at that point.
No, I know, but like it's funny that these deer just got their rear ends kicked by some
Uncle Ricky,
loud Italian, and
or a stick
throwing sticks at him or whatever. And then they come by the poster, and we're like, they're gonna stop at anything. Because I used, I brought that up because I had a buck running directly at me across this field as a poster. I'm like, you can't set it up any better. Like, not running 20 yards to my right, not running 20 yards to my left, directly at me. And you can yell and do whatever you want. You can start when they're like 80 yards away and they're running right at you. And you're just like, man, hey, ho, stop.
Come on.
And if anything, they honestly just run faster. So that doesn't work. But yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the last few I've shot. I haven't had to do it.
I don't think I've ever heard you do that when we've filmed.
And it's not because I don't want to. I just haven't. I don't know. It's just I haven't had to. I'm thinking about my last couple bow kills in New York. I haven't had to, and it was like Neil, dude. I should have had. Actually, I may have tried to, and he just went through it. And then the second time he stopped, he did it on his own, and he just happened to be literally 15 inches of his shoulder was exposed, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is it!" Like it is. He did it himself.
Yeah,
but. Honestly, a few times that I remember me trying to stop a deer didn't work. It worked, but they walked 2 more steps and then stopped when they're behind a tree. And I'm like,
and then you're like, shit, yeah.
And then you try to do it again, and they're like, what the frick, man?
Yeah, what is this?
What? And then
Why are you giving me the mat?
And then they usually go another step too far, and you're just like, man, the mat it worked, but it didn't.
I got a meow a little louder. Meow.
Do you have a favorite meow?
One that sticks.
Or a favorite blah.
The one that sticks in my head. Well, the first velvet buck in North Dakota, I gave him because it was so quiet. It was quiet. They were walking through the wheat field, and you could hear. It was so quiet you could hear their hooves on the wheat, like just swooshing around. And there was like 4 other deer around, and he got to like 30 yards, and I was like,
I did that to
little squeaker,
a North Dakota buck too. Yeah.
Which one?
East Coast.
Oh yeah, you did. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. It was just like
because
I've seen videos where they give them the mat and it's immediate run.
Like, gone, yeah.
Not even like a look. So I get nervous about that because if it is quiet and you're just like it's got to be quiet. A quiet mat. If you startle them, that you don't know what they're gonna do.
Well, you got to gauge the situation because
gauge the mat. There's a lot of different.
The first good buck that I ever shot, the original badge buck that you saw first. I mean, that deer was nose, like his neck was parallel to the ground, and he was on that doe, like he was on her.
Full on chase.
Full on chase. When they came through by me, the doe ran right under me, and he took this trail a little bit farther out, and then he cut like right at me, and I'm at full draw, and I'm like, meh, nothing, meh, and like nothing. He's still running, like bulldozing. Dude, I'm in this big hemlock tree, and he got 12 yards right under me, and I'm like, hey! And he just put on the brakes, and he had no idea where it came from. That's how intently chasing he was. He had no clue where it came from. He just put on the brakes. He stopped, and I had like a 10 to 12 inch window in the hemlock bush.
Yeah.
And I'm like, missile lock. And right when I saw that hole appear, I was like, he's done. He is done.
Sayonara.
That was one that I had to give it the it was two mat, and a hey.
The double mat hey.
Because he hit, I mean, that deer was not stopping. And if he got literally past where he was gone. Because the doe took a left and went on the other side of me. That was just thick, nasty shit. And he would have been in it and gone. So, like, he stopped on a dime right where he needed to. And, well, the rest is history.
Man.
I'm trying to think of other good mat moments. Cartman was not, Nipsey was not, Godfather no.
I think Uncle Jay's had some good mat moments. I feel like he's a big old matter. I can remember a few with the gun, at least in Tennessee. He's had a lot of scenarios where he's had, he hunts. He's got a few of those spots that got the senderos, the long, like the long lanes, if you will. So if the deer's coming through it, you have to do that.
Dude, I remember I was hunting with Jamie, Uncle Jay's daughter. She was probably 12 years old at this time.
Yeah.
And we were this was pre-tornado in his backyard that completely wiped out his whole hardwoods.
Yeah.
So we were in the hardwoods. We were sitting in this massive oak in a buddy stand. And it was just one of those afternoons in November that the woods, or maybe it might have been end of October, but it was a cool afternoon, and the deer were just cruising, man. They were cruising like everywhere. We were seeing multiple different bucks, whatever. This buck is cruising, buck we had never seen before, and it gets to the sendero, and I give it a meh, and it stops on a dime. And this thing is, I mean, dude, this thing's 18 inches all day, like a little bit past his ears. I don't know if he was an 8, 9, 10 point, whatever, but a really nice deer.
Yeah.
And a hell of a deer for a 12-year-old, that's for sure. She had this little youth single shot, and it had a double safety on it. So it had a safety on the side, and then you had to cock the hammer, I think. And she had clicked the safety on the side, but she did not cock the hammer. So I stopped the deer. He's standing wide open, like literally wide open tractor trailer road down the middle of this hardwoods. And he's just like looking up in our direction, probably 50 yards. I mean, right there, dude. And he kind of like stops. He's like watching us for a second. I'm like, Jamie, shoot, shoot, shoot. And she's like a little bit below me. She's not shooting. And that girl knows her way around a firearm.
Yeah.
And she's good. I mean, she's a great shot. Well, he kind of like peeks his head forward and starts to walk again. I give him another meh, and he stops again, looks in our direction for like another 3 seconds. And I'm like, Jamie, shoot. And dude, he just kind of like walks off and kind of gets, you know, a little skittish. Didn't know exactly where it came from, but knew that like that wasn't nature.
Weird, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, Jamie looks back up at me. She's like, my gun wouldn't go off. And I like look down and whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, the freaking hammer was not cocked. That safety was off. The hammer wasn't cocked. But she's sitting there squeezing the trigger. And it probably was a lot shorter of a time. You know, stopped him. He gave it a second, stopped him again. He gave it another second, then kept going. But yeah.
Oh, man.
The ones that got away.
The ones that got away from the mat.
The ones that escaped the map. Map.
Looking forward to a few maps this season.
Yeah. That is true. Definitely more pertinent during the rut.
Yeah.
When the bucks are cruising, them leaves are crunching. They can't hear themselves, let alone hear anything else. You got to give them the old meh.
Meh.
Meh. Yeah. Are you going to get in the woods?
I would like to, yeah, but it's going to be tight. So
tight window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
But sometimes you got to, you know, sometimes you just got to do it. You can't be like, oh, I only got an hour and a half.
I only got.
I'll hunt tomorrow.
We make excuses a lot on why we shouldn't hunt, and that's not okay.
Well, it's nice to have a spot or two where you can get into quickly.
True.
If you need to. You know,
True.
It's not like, I don't have a 20-minute walk back into the woods. So
True.
If I go in, it's going to be one of those spots and
slip in, slip out.
Slip in, slip out. Yeah. You know, it's nice. October 1st. I feel like it's, you know, I got to do it just to do it.
I mean, I feel you. You know, I'm not going to be able to get in the woods this evening, so got to have a team member in the bush.
Got to have a team member in the bush, but yeah, I feel like I'm going to do it. It's like I said, the weather-wise, it looks like tomorrow is the day, but these deer are unpredictable, man. You just don't know.
They sure are. They sure are.
Don't know.
They sure are. They're animals. They're always out there.
So, not to cut this one short, but
see you later. I may keep her going a little while.
You gonna keep her going?
I may keep her going a little while. Why not? I feel like talking. I want to talk about some things.
You know, talk a little more. Yeah, well, Tag and Brag Nation, it's been a privilege. I'll you all be updated if I see anything.
Stay on our story.
I'll be on the story. Keep a look at that.
Keep a look, okay?
And when you're listening to this tomorrow, because I'll also be doing the same thing.
and hopefully better weather conditions.
Hopefully better weather. All right. If I X this out, am I gonna?
No, you're good.
All right.
I'll give you a call when I'm done.
Cool. Love y'all.
Hey, see ya. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is just me. I felt like staying on here a little bit to rap with you guys. Got a lot of stuff going on in Tag and Brag land. kind of wanted to give you guys a little update. I'm actually moving back to Ohio in the very near future. Actually, within a week, I will be back in Ohio. We don't really, well, just life changes. Life changes, being closer to family. My girlfriend Kelly is going back to school, and the school that she's going to is in Cleveland. It's a great opportunity for her. Good opportunity for Dino and I to get back side by each and try and drive this ship to the moon with all y'all as our passengers. So, a little bittersweet, honestly. I love Nashville, Tennessee. I love it down here. Love the people, love the atmosphere, love the weather. Just love the city in general, honestly, and the outskirts. It's a very happy mesh of like a city feel and getting out into the middle of nowhere very, very quickly. So for me, it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's kind of the perfect storm. That's why I've moved here twice in my life now, and I'm moving back to Cleveland for the second time. But it's going to be good. Like I said, from a business standpoint, it's going to be good. Dean and I traveling together, just being side by side, bringing more people on board on the team behind the scenes to help us create more content and get out more content to you guys. It's going to be good from a family perspective and being around family. I've got a sister that has a baby now, so I'm a proud uncle of little Brooklyn, and my sister's got another one on the way. As you know, Dino has one on the way as well. So the next generation is going to be rolling 3 deep by the end of January or February of 2025. So I got uncle duties that I need to get back to. And yeah, it just seems to make sense for my life right now. So some jitters, some anxious energy, some nerves, but also very excited and very happy to be moving back, getting closer to family, getting closer to some of the day one homies, and yeah, just a new chapter. I love changes. I love change. I think there's a lot of people out there that don't like change. I love change because change means new shit, and new shit is typically good shit. So, as hard as it is for me to leave this place because I love it so much, the change for me is good, and I'm feeling like I'm at a point right now where I need a little change in my life. I need a little shake up. I need things to be coming at me a little bit differently. I need to take things on a little bit differently. I need to immerse myself in myself a little bit more. And that sounds selfish, but it's also necessary. So I'm excited. And yeah, change is good. Like I said, I think a lot of people fear change, and it's hard because change in routine can be difficult. A lot of people are very routine, especially these days. It's like get up at 5 a.m, get your workout in, get this, get that, you know. So everything is so structured throughout the day. But I think it's important to shake that up every once in a while because with routine, also, I think can come complacency and not pushing yourself to a new dimension of yourself that you may or may not know yet. And yeah. So I'm one that absolutely loves change because most of the time I feel like change means that good things are coming. I feel like change means that you're leveling up. I feel like change means that you are willing to take risks and you're being a little bit daring and courageous, if you will. So, so yeah, change is a good thing. And we're going to go through a lot of it. Kind of a difficult time of year to be going through this much change and trying to navigate and deal with my busiest time of year specifically, but that's good too because challenges are good and pushing yourself to limits can be good. I'm the type of person that I take a lot on. I take a lot on for myself. I take a lot on for other people as well. But, and I've learned this through like therapy and through talking with people, that I can handle it. I take it on because I can handle it. And I'm not trying to like boast myself or put myself up. It's real. Like I would fight that for a long time, and I would fight it with other, family members, friends, whatever. Like you take on too much, this and that. But it's because I can handle it. And in the fire, in the craziness, I feel at ease. Like I feel all right. Like the more sometimes the more that I take on, like the calmer that I feel. And I don't know why that is, but I can take that stuff on. So is it a difficult time to be moving 500 miles north? Yeah. Is the timing right? Yeah, I wish it was different. Could have been in the summertime, could have been in the springtime, could have been a little bit easier that way, but I like the challenge. I don't know. Like, I like challenges. I like overcoming. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love hunting and I love bow hunting so much, because it's such a challenge. You've got to be so present. You've got to be so focused. You got to be so in the moment. And that's why I love it. You've got to be so present and in tune with what is going on around you right at this very second. And you have to be in that moment right this very second in order to be good, in order to be consistent. And I like that. I like that position. Even when I fail, I like being in that position. Like, even when I don't come home with anything, even when I'm not successful in a hunt, or even when I take on too much, and maybe at that point it was actually too much, and there is a point in that process where I have to admit that I took on too much. Even that, because now I know, okay, I got to this point, and that last thing that I took on, too much. But I like that challenge, and change is good. Change is good. That means you're moving. That means you're not staying in the same place. That means you're doing something that you want to do. It might be scary. Might give you anxiety. It might make you anxious. Might make you nervous. But the excitement is what can come if you're willing to make that change. If you're willing to have a little courage, take the risk, what can come of it? We don't know, and you don't know until you do it. So, yeah, moving back home, the next podcast actually will likely be recorded with Dino and I in the same room, maybe at camp, who knows? But we got a lot of cool things coming up. Next week, we're going to be filming a little video series with Moultrie and Moultrie Mobile on how we utilize the cameras, how we set them up on our property, how they make us and help us be better hunters. From there, we're going right to the XOP Gear Lab Hunt, 9th through the 13th of October. It's in mid-Ohio, kind of like mid-eastern Ohio. There's going to be a lot of us in camp. It's going to be wild. I'm really looking forward to seeing the guys from last year in camp, meeting some new guys, and just, I don't know, having fun in hunt camp, making hunt camps great again. It's weird. We get a cool opportunity to see new gear that's coming out for XOP in 2025. We get to test out this gear. We get to run with it. We get to critique it. But the cool part is we get to do it with a bunch of people that are so like-minded, a bunch of people that are either filming or they got podcasts or whatever. They're creating their own content in some way, shape, or form in the hunting world. And to be a part of that group, to kind of get some behind the scenes viewage and usage of the new equipment is honorable. And honestly, more than I'm actually like excited about trying to go stomp around some public land in Ohio and shoot something, I'm more excited about spending all this time in camp with the boys. It's going to be awesome. From there, I got a 5-day break, not even 4 to 5 day break. And it's really not even going to be a break because I'll definitely be in the woods, probably in Northern Ohio or New York. But Dean and I leave for Kansas either the 17th or 18th of October. We're going to hit the last red moon in October in Kansas. Going to hunt till the 25th, maybe the 26th if necessary. And then we come back. I got a wedding to go to. One of my really good buddies, actually that I met here in Nashville, is getting married in Atlanta, November 2nd. So the first weekend in November, and we pushed our rut week back a week this year because of the wedding that I'm going to. My dad's actually going to be out of town at the same time. So we're going to do rut week a week later in New York, the 9th through the 17th. And it's going to lead us into the first weekend of rifle season. So we're going to get the last weekend of bow season to hunt. And then we're going to get the last week of bow season to hunt, and then we're going to get the first weekend of rifle season. I'll likely have my Hoyt with me because I love that bad boy. But it will be rifle season, and new tags will be eligible at that time. So cool stuff. A lot of change, a lot of cool things going on. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm nervous. All the feelings, all the emotions. But ultimately, it's going to be a good thing. It is change, and change is good. Some content on our YouTube channel that has just recently come out. We got a public land hunt, 4 days worth of public land hunting in Tennessee. We also have a gear, self-filming gear video. I kind of go through all of the equipment and products that I use on a given hunt to self-film on spots that I'm going that we already have stands hung. And then if I'm going to hang and bang in a public land scenario or in some other scenario with a stand strapped to my back. So that's live on our YouTube channel now as well. As you heard, Dino's going to be in the bush in Ohio this evening. We got his Ohio hunts coming up, and then probably his New York hunt from tomorrow coming up as well by the end of the week. So looking forward to that. You guys, thank you so much, as always, for following along on this journey. We are just getting the season started, as most of you are probably just starting your seasons as well. We want to wish you all good luck. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to follow along with our weekly and daily updates. On there, we're going to have some great episodes coming out from Tennessee, Ohio, New York, Kansas at the end of the month, and in all three of those states throughout the rest of the season. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about our hunts, our footage, our content. Like we're in this together. That's why we started the Make Hunt Cams Great Again movement, which you can check out on our website, TAGNBRAG.co. Check out the merch. Get you some of that merch. And let's make hunt cams great again together. Killing big bucks is cool. But if you don't have anybody to share that with, if you don't have anybody to celebrate that moment with, how cool is it? So make hunt cams great again. Follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate y'all. And we will see you right back here next Wednesday on the 71st episode of Goose Chasing. It's crazy. It's hard to believe that this is episode 70, that we're closing it off right now. I cannot tell you thank you enough to everybody who has listened and followed along on this journey so far on the podcast, on our vlogs, on all of our content on social media. You guys are making a dream come true. Thank y'all so much. We'll see you right back here next week. Peace.